How did you get into the architectural world?
Well, you're asking me something that happened
A long time ago.
A long time ago. I don't remember what I ate yesterday.
How you step into the studio AWG?
All of that story that I began when I was 16 changed because I saw a necessity and a need that the industry needs to change, because we're designing as we did many years ago, but we have now processes, we have now workflows, and we have technology now introduced into the society. And I think there is a possibility that we can be better. So from virtuality to reality, a building has a life cycle. The first cycle is that you have an idea, so you just test it, you validate it. Then you can transfer it into a model and go into more detail. And then at the end, you document the whole building for the whole life cycle of the building that is going to be standing there for the next 30, 40, 50 years. When BIM got introduced as a term, as a method, into the industry, the software industry used this and started labeling their software BIM, 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 BIM. Everything is BIM. And this is this is the point where the clients or the investors and real estate owners started identifying BIM as a software. It's not just building information modeling. What I often used to say to people and explain is better information management, because
I'll write that down.
Today we're working with information. What we implement actually in our collaborative aspects is that we need to exchange the models as often as possible.
How often?
We do it weekly or bi-weekly. We had preliminary phase 1 year, design phase 1 year, and the building permit 6 months or 7 months.
So it's 2.5 years.
Yeah, but that's a really big project. But in other cases, we have just 6 months, more or less, plus minus, for all the 3 phases. A floor plan is not just a drawing. It needs to fulfill some regulatory criteria. So you have fire safety, you have building regulations with the building height and boundaries of the building. And this has to be included into that process, which is currently not the case in all of the AI tools.
You're an expert for libraries, but if you did one library and you did residential for 5 years and then you did one hotel and then you have one competition for library, you need to see the regulation because it changed in those 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Something changed, you know, and you skip that period, and now the AI will be the regulator for that.
Hello everyone and welcome to the SFERA. Today we're here at Budapest, more specifically Corinthia Hotel, and we are visiting Graphisoft 2025 Ignite conference. We are here to have discussions with our fellow colleagues, architects and other experts from various fields to discuss what is the future of architecture. More specifically, how the new technological developments influence architecture as a field, how it affects our role as architects, how it affects educational systems, cultural heritage, working processes, and so on and so forth. This will be a very fun and exciting project for us. This marks the start of our architectural podcast series. And if you want, be sure to check our links that will be there in the description of this video to check out what we did in the previous 2 years in the Serbo-Croatian speaking area. Once again, my name is Miljan Salata and welcome to the SFERA and the Ignite conference. Let's go.
If you would like to hear more conversations, please check out the Ignite On Demand library located in the description of this video. Here you can discover inspiring lectures and in-depth panel discussions with architects and BIM experts from around the world.
Okay, we can start this evening podcast, this evening episode. We're here in Budapest. Hi Agron. Really nice to see you, and welcome to SFERA. Yeah, we are here in the Corinthia Hotel in the center of Budapest, and we are here at the Ignite conference. And we can start with some, let's say, personal questions for you. And the first one will be your personal path, and how did you get into the architectural world, and can you tell us how your journey started in architecture? How did you pick architecture as your profession, as your career?
Okay, first of all, hi Igor, and thanks for having me in the podcast. It's an honor to be here and at this event also, and to share some thoughts for SFERA podcast. Well, you're asking me something that happened
Long time ago.
A long time ago. I don't remember what I ate yesterday, but more or less I know that it was around when I was 16 years old. It is a time when I think kids at the time, or teenagers, start to think, okay, what do they want to become? And I think
So in high school period?
Yeah, in high school, yeah, exactly, yeah, in high school. So I think at that time I got in contact with some architectural plans, and I saw of how a floor plan was represented on paper, because this is something that I had never seen before, because you live in a building, you live throughout space, but you never see it on plan, you don't see the documentation. And this is what intrigued me, that means that there's somebody that actually thinks about how a space can be created and offered to the citizens to inspire maybe colors and emotions. And this is what inspired me also to think in that way, that okay, I might be, this looks interesting, so I can actually start developing also spaces that can inspire other people, so they can feel comfortable, they can feel happy in the space. So this is the moment where I started just drawing, or maybe I would say more copying, existing plans that famous architects did at that time, just to figure out the form, the shape, the connections, the relations of these shapes. And so this is actually that inspired me, and I said, oh, I found out, okay, there's something called architecture.
Yeah, but when you had that first tackle with architecture, did you have somebody from your family that is connected to architecture?
No.
Or not?
This just happened like a spark.
Like
it
a
happened
spark,
that as I said, I saw that floor plan. I still know which floor plan it was. It was from a I think exactly no, but I think it was Frank Lloyd Wright, which accidentally landed on my table. I don't know for what reason. The falling water, and yeah, and
the icon.
Exactly, yeah.
So did you have any early influences by that architecture? Basically, that modernistic period. In your let's say early school days at architecture faculty.
Yeah, maybe because then I shifted towards, well, actually my favorite architect, my idol was Tadao Ando. Or is until today, and this is actually the way that he played with light and shadow, and how he integrated concrete elements into the surrounding, and also for the interior. That was quite astonishing, which was also quite a big inspiration for me, that guided actually the style that I wanted to develop.
Yeah, it's interesting that we had last year we had a chance to talk with Riki Yamamoto, also one of the famous Japanese architects, and we were totally over the moon how they look upon the architecture and what is that dimension of architecture, and it really influences to the fellow architects, especially younger architects who are not from that part of the world. Japanese architects had a really unique approach to architecture.
Exactly.
Unique approach to architecture.
It differs a lot from European and from the architects in the United States, They have a total different style. I think it's more, I would say maybe spiritual, more condensed in the way they are thinking. And of course they have to think about the space because they don't have a lot of space there. So they have to really think and concentrate all that architecture in one small plot.
Yeah, basically I haven't thought what is the core essence of why do they design the space so miraculously. You know? That is one of the reasons is also that. And we forgot to say that Agron is a fellow architect from the AllesWirdGut and the famous Vienna-based studio, architecture studio, and also you have an office in Munich, in Germany. It's the same office or the outpost of the main office?
We function as one body, which is a body now in Munich, but we function as one unit actually. So we're closely connected to each other. So we're friends and we collaborate also together.
And one of the great things is that the language do not divide you.
Exactly.
Do not divide you. It's like
that's true.
Us or Montenegrins, let's say. But basically, further on in AWG, I saw on your website that you mentioned that the one of the main things is the balance and the relationship between the site and the character of the task that you are upon to tackle.
So we have to find a way of how we represent that architecture and how we want to represent that context throughout new architecture. Because I think one of the qualities that an architect has or could have is the ability that he could sketch, that he could transfer his idea into paper in a matter of minutes, because he might not have a computer. Even though we're living in a digital age where we have some sort of a computer here, but the point is that I think the architect must have the capability that he has the will and the possibility to transfer his idea into paper. So that's actually the sketch part. And the sketch part, I think, should still be valid and accompany the architect's life throughout the development. But going now to the technology part, that sketch has to be transferred someday into a virtual building. So we're working now with virtual buildings, with digital twins, which represent the design that is someday going to be built and going to stand somewhere on the site. And
going to be real,
Exactly. So from virtuality to reality. And this is one concept that I think a building has a life cycle. So it has the first cycle is that you have an idea. So you just test it, you validate it. Throughout sketches, you test it or how you can do it. Then you can transfer it into a model and go into more detail. And then at the end, you document the whole building for the whole life cycle of the building that is going to be standing there for the next 30, 40, 50 years. So it depends also on the architect, how they want to do it. There are some architects that they do the sketches also immediately in CAD. Of course, that is not prohibited. It depends of how flexible and how free are you to present your idea. Because one thing that you have said that 50% don't see BIM as a benefit.
But older architects.
I must
say.
Sorry. Well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, this is an evolutionary process. I think BIM was integrated into our society now for the last, I would say, 10, 15 years, or maybe almost 20 years. And we cannot expect, I think, from our colleagues, from our professionals, that is going to be simply a press of a button and they're going to switch into a different total story. It is a learning process. You have to learn the steps, you have to learn to understand why you're doing this thing, and then actually you will see the benefits of how BIM could support the whole concept.
Yeah, basically like architecture. From every new project you learn something new, And can you say can you explain basically to our public and to our podcast fans how AWG was established and when?
Yeah, that's a very interesting story because AWG was created back in 1999, when the four founding members, Friedrich, Andi, Christian, and Herwig, they have won a competition. And they decided they want to join forces.
Architectural competition.
Yeah, architecture, small project. Yeah, exactly. And then they decided to join forces. So there are four partners together ever since, from 1999. And this is how the journey actually began. So it starts like with a small project, and you get always bigger and bigger projects. And so I joined the team in 2014 as an architect. I started working at a very interesting and beautiful project. It was a school in Hamburg. And yeah, I was taking part in the preliminary design phase and also at the design phase, and also construction documentation. But then in 2016 something happened because I was in my mid-30s and I had a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And
I'm coming to that period. Yeah. I'm 33 now.
Hold on to it.
Yeah. Is this around this year? Yeah.
35.
The Jesus years. Okay, 35. Yeah. I have 2 more years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So think of a backup
Reconsider
plan.
myself. Yeah. Yeah. Cheers to that. Yeah.
Cheers. You'll survive. Don't worry.
Yeah. And
so
what happened 2016?
All of that story that I began when I was 16 changed because actually there was a need. I saw a necessity and a need that the industry needs to change because we're designing as we did many years ago. But we have now processes, we have now workflows, and we have technology now introduced into the society. And I think there is a possibility that we can be better. We can implement innovation. So that was my trigger of me thinking that I need to shift from architecture into digitalization.
Okay.
So I had a talk with my 4 founders.
You approached them like?
Yeah, I approached them with a business plan. I said,
you have an idea and the business
Exactly.
plan about how to transform this office.
Exactly, that's the correct word. Because I said, look, I want to transform your office. We're going to go digital. We're going to do this and that. We have Archicad. I'm going to do a lot of templates and stuff.
You already started with Archicad prior to that,
Exactly.
2016.
The company shifted to Archicad back in 2004, around 2004, yeah. So it was around, I don't know, Archicad 8, more or less, 7 or 8.
A lot of experience in Archicad, yeah.
So actually when I joined the company back in 2014, they had structure, they had, of course, Archicad there, but I saw it could be better.
Okay.
Yeah? So I started working, first of all, on a template, because that was my main focus. We need something that everybody can work freely and especially in a united way. So, because we shift teams, we shift workers from one team to another. So imagine the hard part is when actually the one team member goes to the other team and starts to think of how is the project structured, what are colors, pans, layers, and stuff like that. Yeah, you know.
Of course.
So, in order to avoid that,
terrible situation.
yeah, we need
when it's not structured.
Yeah, so we need a template, and that was on my first main task, to create the template, and then from there on, think of a process of how do we communicate, how do we collaborate with each other.
But you tested the template on one project and then firmly and slowly evolved to another in the firm, or or you said with partners, from now on we skip to this way of designing and sketching and drawing?
I think it's both, because I had back then I had quite a lot experience, or I also today I have a lot of experience in Archicad.
Okay.
So I know every hidden corner of how the program functions. So it was easier for me to decide the path of how we can use the tool in a very efficient way. So I know the stuff that works, the stuff maybe that doesn't work, or it can work better, or we can implement something from outside in order to be more efficient. So this is actually what helped me guide this and create the template throughout the team. And of course, I had to discuss it with my colleagues in the office to have a proof of concept, why we're doing this, why is the efficiency here, and especially how we're going to adapt in the future. Because a template that is created should not be created just for one moment now, but it has to be thought for the next years in the future. Because software changes, and if it changes, then it might impact also the template.
You trigger one question in my mind now. When you
Hopefully
ask,
not a hard one.
No. It's really in a flow one. Let's say. Let's stick to the flow. So basically, when you started, you said that you know every corner of Archicad. You were like, my father is also an architect, and he taught all of us Archicad. You know. And you had that approach also to the BIM managers from Graphisoft and to the people of Graphisoft directly, also through AWG. Then you started to talk in advance what will happen maybe in Archicad in the next version or not. Did you have that information?
No. All that information back then was top secret.
Yeah.
No, but
now it's more open. They are more open
now. Since the last years, they have laid out their program, what they are going to be developing, the next versions.
Next versions
in the future. Yeah. That's really cool. No, but back then I was thinking more of how we could integrate all these processes when we develop. It's hard to explain because I'll take, for example, layers. Yeah, layers maybe is the first common thing that when you design, you put something on a layer. So it is important for me that the user that uses the software, he understands how the layer can be used or where can it be found, because you have different systems of defining a layer. Yeah? And so, simply said, make life easier. That was actually my task. So to make all these standards in the office and especially in the template, to make the life easier for the user that are going to be designing. Because this is also quite an important aspect, is when people design, I tend to think or to help actually my friends, that they don't need to think about all these technicalities. It is a difficult task because when you design something in a software tool, you have to think where it is in a layer, which classification does it have, and so on and so on. But it would be cool if we could actually set this process in the background, and the architect could have a free mind to design and to document it.
And how your colleagues implemented that shift in the methodology of the mind, basically, when you shift. Okay, you said that all the people in your office used Archicad before you start to enhance and make it better even.
Well, they use Archicad, but I also organized courses, internal courses, to raise the level of knowledge and awareness of how the software works. So we had
who did that? You?
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For your fellow colleagues in Vienna and in
for
Munich.
everybody. We are one office.
Okay.
So it was important for me so that everybody understands how the software ticks. So it is quite important because it's in a machine. You have to know where are all the buttons and how the machine works. So it was important that we raise the level of awareness that this is a software that we're going to be using in the future. So don't fight it. Try to understand it in order to help you throughout the process of your task.
Okay, Agron, and it's interesting. So when you approach to the partners that you will basically implement that enhance of the design process in BIM, how did they react? They said what?
I don't actually
because
remember.
Because it's 4 of them and 50 more colleagues. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. So 4 different opinions. Well, the cool thing is that all of my 4 bosses, they have 4 different thoughts here and levels of understanding here. But to be honest with you, they all greeted that idea positively because they understood that the future is actually it has to go into the digital steps. There is no other option, and we can see it today here that everything is shifting to that towards that environment here. So actually, it was a positive reaction. They approved it, and this is how my BIM journey started. And actually, I'm in the office. I'm called the BIMster, and so this is actually how the journey started. And this actually was the cool part because it is something that I love to do, because I love to push the boundaries as much as possible. Sometimes maybe my colleagues hate me for that, but it actually brings innovation. I think.
What is Agron, the methodology and the process behind it? Especially, I'm totally 100% on your side, especially for the buildings that are important for the city. That's the first step. That's the first step. The important city buildings, and then other buildings that are not in the first echelon of those important buildings. Yeah, but basically, almost every building that has to be repaired, it would be better that you have documentation, even 3D model of that building prior to start designing it. Yeah. Not to. It's really difficult to start from zero.
Yeah.
If you want to redesign or reconstruct this type of building, let's say. Today.
Look at today's problem. Buildings lack documentation. When we take such an existing building, we don't know what's inside. And I had actually the case where I was dealing with an existing building. So the client delivered me existing plans, existing plans, and there were walls on the plan that did not exist on site. Or the opposite, there were walls on site, but they didn't exist on the floor plan. And this is actually a very difficult task here, because you don't have a very reliable source of information that you need. And this is the problem that we're facing.
And that's the problem not just for the architects, but also for statics and for the construction engineers.
I think for everybody.
For everybody, yeah. But one of the things that I would like to ask you is how the workflow in AWG is working. So, entirely in your company, and you work in Archicad, but with the other engineers around, so other map, for instance, map or civil engineers, are they doing in BIM environment also?
Yes, but it is a matter of time, because we would be doing this interview 10 years ago. The situation would be a little bit more different, I would say, more difficult, because you would not be able to find consultants at that time that were working in a 3D environment. But today you see more and more consultants that are engaged in this interoperability aspects, so exchanging data that are based on Open BIM international standards, And you don't see anymore just architects and structural engineers, but now you have HVAC, mechanical engineers, also landscape architecture. This is also a cool part because now we're seeing more and more landscape architects diving into the BIM world here and exchanging data between each other. Also, we had in our project that I'm going to present here, the kitchen planner.
Kitchen planner.
Kitchen planner.
So the kitchen specialist.
Yeah, he modeled all the, the cutting, the meat cutting machines, and sorry for all the vegans here, but also the French fried toasts and all the machines that are. Yeah, it's really crazy, but it is necessary because I also asked, but why do you need to model all of this thing? Because it has to go through cost estimation.
Architecture today is shaped by more than buildings. It's shaped by ideas, tools, as well as people who connect them. That's why we invite you to register for Graphisoft Ignite Conference On Demand Library. Here you can discover inspiring talks by leading architects and BIM experts. Real projects, real workflows, and real conversations about the future of design. Registration is free and the knowledge stays with you. Follow the link in the video description, sign up in just a few simple steps, and explore the ideas shaping contemporary architecture through BIM, emerging technologies, and advanced workflows.
Of course, and that's the point when you did that so thoroughly. At the end, you know to present to the client basically in 10% or maybe 15% range, the cost estimation. Yeah, in Serbia you design something and then that costs 150 times more percent, Yeah.
Well,
because you're cheaper in the design phase. When you are doing, like, let's say you are doing in CAD all the drafting, you're doing 3D model in, let's say, SketchUp or maybe 3D Max, and then you render to Corona from 3D Max, or you render in these new Twinmotion or Lumion renderings, and then that's like 3 different softwares and 3 different kind of architects who are doing that, and they are not, they do not have one model that they are changing their information.
Yeah.
And then you have like 5 times more expensive the output project.
What we implement actually in our collaborative aspects is that we need to exchange the models as often as possible. Because
How often?
We do it weekly or bi-weekly. So, because in the classical method of design and documentation, we met in a meeting, and then we started working, and we met again in 2 months. And we didn't talk in between. So we meet in 2 months, and we see that the walls are different, the air ventilation channels are different, and they are not coordinated. And this was actually, actually today's problem of why actually the coordination does not work, because we're simply we're working in silos. It's a trend that a lot of people are using it. So everybody's working for himself. And sometime in the timeline we meet and we start talking. It doesn't work. We need to talk more, and we need to actually lay out all open cards in order for the others to see what we're doing, and especially to engage the investor. I think the investor is a little bit of a delicate subject, because in most of the cases architects don't want to share the ideas immediately with the investor. But in this project that we had here, in the project in Düsseldorf, we set some rules with our client, that we said, we are working with you in a transparent way, so we're opening our ideas towards you, but this is work in progress. And all the stuff that we're going to be developing in between is just to inform you that we're doing our job and we're progressing, but this is not a state for you to evaluate and for documentation, or maybe, yeah. So this is the mindset aspect that I'm talking about, that we need to think differently, that we need to talk more openly between all stakeholders in order that we all have the same focus, the project itself.
How many investors do you have to think in that way? Are you trying to find those investors, or to accept that methodology on just special, let's say, special clients who are having that vision, to share with an architect that vision and that aspect of our job?
It is getting better and better because 20 years ago or 10 years ago, this whole BIM notion, in my opinion, got into the industry in the wrong step, with the wrong foot. Because BIM is not just software. And what I at least identify is that when BIM got introduced as a term, as a method into the industry, the software industry used this and started labeling their software BIM, 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 BIM. Everything is BIM. Yeah? And this is this is the point where the clients or the investors and real estate owners started identifying BIM as a software. And that's why when you talk to some investors, they say, you wanted to do it in BIM? Okay, so go and buy the software. Well, that's wrong. And I think BIM is not just
a mindset, yeah.
Exactly.
It's a mindset of design.
Yeah.
Designing.
Designing, exactly. So it's not just building information modeling. What I often used to say to people and explain is better information management. Because
I will write that down.
Because today we're working with information. We're transferring, we're talking. Me and you, we're talking information. So everything can be integrated into information containers. And this, I think, that the client side should understand that we should talk freely now, because we have the same goal. We get contracted, we want to do design, and we want to build the building. So nobody's against this ideology because we have the same goal. So why don't we work together?
Yeah, the client is also the part of the BIM.
Exactly.
Not just the guy who is saying, "Oh yeah, you want to do it in BIM, do it in BIM." Yeah.
Do it by yourself.
Yeah, do it by yourself.
Yeah.
But he is also the part of that design methodology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That phrase, I will write it down later. Which projects do you most do in BIM? You said prior to this conversation that you do not do residential projects that often, because it's not that extensive and difficult to do it in BIM. But is it something educational, or in the sphere of public projects, hospitals, or something like that?
I would not say maybe that we don't do it in BIM, because as I said, BIM is better information management. So what I mean by that is that our designs are going to be information containers. And what I mean by that is that even though the investor doesn't want to do it in full BIM, let's say, where we hand over the documentation for the
construction site,
for the asset, for the construction, and also then in later phase for the operational phase. Nonetheless, we try to do it internally with our consultants in a sort of a little BIM, I would say, maybe. So we gather all of our consultants, structural engineer, HVAC, electrical, maybe also landscape, if there is interest, because there is potential. We can talk to each other through better mediums of communication. And in this way, we engage then all the stakeholders in this environment and we develop it. But the contractor, the client, gets his contracted 2D plans. And if he wants to engage also into this BIM environment, then he's freely welcomed, of course. We won't say that you're not allowed in this party, but you can join in. Yeah? And so this is actually the part where we have projects where we deal only with our consultants in a little BIM project, because we all see the benefits. They have a proof of concept, we have a proof of concept, and it simply works.
Of course, you have that mindset and you're on that level of seeing all things around in architecture, that BIM is a necessity for our mind and our way of thinking architecture. But when we talk about regulations, especially regulations in the EU, Austria and Germany, when we speak about BIM, does it need to be done in BIM? Is it a recommendation, mandatory thing?
No, it's still not mandatory, but it's shifting towards that. So we have a pilot project from the city of Vienna where they are testing still how we can submit digital models to the administration for the building permit, in order for them to check it and to give approvals for the project itself. So it is, I think, a step still in development. It has to be tested because, of course, it's not an easy task. But I think someday it will be a reality where we deliver IFC models to the administration to get approval, and then they can automate a lot of processes to check.
In the maintenance phase, of course.
No, for the building permit.
For the building permit,
yeah,
of course. Yeah.
The administration, then they check the model if it fulfills the criteria of the regulations, so escape routes and all the corridor
wide
width. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. So they can automate that and check it if it is fulfilling criteria or not. And then you can speed up the process of the building permit. So now in Austria you have to wait 6 months up to 1 year for the building permit, and maybe in the future we can wait maybe a month that we have tested.
Maybe in the future we will have still this process of design without AI from our side, architectural side, but when the people who are in the authorities, maybe they will develop the AI who will check if everything is all right in the regulations. So
exactly.
AI will transcript and rethink all the regulations in Germany, let's say, and then they will say, at the 8th floor, your fence is not 110,
exactly.
It needs to be 120.
Yeah.
And then change that. And then you will have a report, this on that floor you need to change, and that will be I think that will be the good way of having AI on our side.
That's what I agree with you, because this is actually...
Not in the design phase.
Yeah.
But reverse, to check if we design good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a quality control.
Quality control,
And I
with
fully agree
criteria
with
and parameters from the regulations.
Exactly. That's the point where I agree with you, because these are aspects that you can you have values for them, as you said, 120 or 110 for the parapet, or other information that you can validate, and this is where the AI might step in and then validate the model with certain values.
Correctly.
Because design is something, it's a matter of taste.
Subjective.
Exactly. Yeah. So one likes red color, the other one likes the blue color or yellow, and it's a matter of taste.
It need to be shaped, circled in a way of it needs to have boundary. Yeah.
And this is actually the point where we wanted to take part in a research project in Vienna, where the AI tool would learn the building code, the building regulation of the city of Vienna, and then we could feed the IFC model into it, and it would check it. And imagine the results. And you get live feedbacks. You could go constantly through weekly, let's say, or bi-weekly, to ask the AI, hey, check my design. Is it fulfilling the criteria or not?
Is it a pilot project, or you are doing that?
No, sadly,
it's just the idea.
It was not approved, but the idea stands, and it is valid. So everybody can actually do that. One interesting fact is that a recent study has showed that people working in offices spend up to 1 day, that is 8 hours, in searching information. That is the whole full day.
Out of 5 days,
in 1 week.
1 week
In 1 week
is searching information.
Exactly. So you go searching for regulations, for files, for other information, which is quite a lot.
For idea to start.
Or maybe also, yeah.
For idea to start, you know.
Believe me, recently I have joined a project in Germany, and I went into the server and I was looking for 1 hour for documents. 1 hour, I lost 1 hour. And this is, when you think about it, this is crazy. Why? You don't need that. You need some kind of, now we have tools that could help us to identify what I'm looking for. And this is actually AI. So AI I see as a helping tool, not as a solving tool maybe in most cases. Because in the design, maybe it could help us, but I think it should guide us and maybe inspire us with some ideas. But I use also AI for generating different scripts in Python, for example. And maybe some IT specialists would contradict me and say, no, it doesn't work, but maybe, yeah. But I have developed some Python scripts with it. And when I use
maybe
AI,
for numbering the parking lots, for instance.
yeah, that could be example. If you could integrate it into the specific software, then of course it will work. If it has an open API.
We did once in Archicad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
So that was cool also.
Yeah.
But, which upcoming projects at the AWG are you expecting most? And where do you like to work and to be, in Vienna or in Munich?
No, of course, Vienna is the place that I live. I know the city, so yeah, I would say Vienna. Yeah, it's a really cool city. So whenever you are in the city, please
we'll come,
step by for a coffee, and we can continue discussing topics. And but what projects? I think I would say everything that lands on the table, because it is a challenge. It's a new challenge, new experience, and I think that brings the level of curiosity to another level of how we can dive into the project in order to realize, because each project is simply different.
It doesn't matter if it is big or small.
Yeah.
Yeah. It basically it needs to be a difficult task.
Yeah.
To triggers you to think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's actually the nerd part of me, because I like challenges. I like the technicality of all of these aspects. So I always think of how we can do it better, and especially in a digital way, because I simply don't want to do it in a classical way, because I know I have worked as a classical architect, and I know what does it mean communicating via email. Come on, simply email was cool in the 80s.
Text me in teamwork chat.
Yeah, but there are today different cooler ways that we can communicate and collaborate with each other.
Yeah, just send and receive, and you see the difference.
For example,
yeah. Thank you, Agron, and I'm really looking forward to see your presentation tomorrow. And thank you, everybody, that you are listening to this podcast. and subscribe and follow Podcast SFERA, and we will continue to film in English in recent time. Bye and see you.